So magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Thank you for coming. I hope na you're okay, and I suppose some of you are joining the NCRT as volunteers. Okay, so it's a recap of higher education, ano ba, HEI institutions, ano. I read your paper, talagang napaka-substantial niya, no? So I will just be providing some extra data, no? So that kasi yung mga shinare nyo are observations. So in your analysis. So hopefully my presentation today will help you substantiate, ano, yung mga observations nyo, no? So thanks again for for the time and effort na nilagay nyo sa pag-analyze ng mga HEIs. Okay, so we'll have a short fun quiz. Ayan, ano. So please write the answer sa chat box. Okay? Wala akong time gumawa ng Slido, ano. So ano lang to. Paano ba? Ayan, ano. Okay. So, isa-isahin ko and then you write the answer sa chat box para I can see kung ano yung mga sagot nyo, no? So, number 1 to 3, sino yung head ng DepEd, TESDA, and CHED again? So, write the names, the apelyido. Anyone? Ayan. Okay. Si Marty, DepEd Angara. Sino sa TESDA and CHED? Okay. Wala. So, TESDA, as I mentioned last time, is yung Benitez Hall, yung apo ni Benitez, Jose Benitez ba siya, no? So first name niya tuloy. Basta he's a teacher, literature teacher, Jose Benitez. I think it's also Jose. And then si Ched, yes, a groupist. Yes. Okay. How many HEIs are there? Estimate. Estimate. How many thousand? Hmm? So you will see later, ano? So anong tawag sa mga policies, issuances, like sa DepEd, meron silang DepEd order, DepEd memo, and so in higher ed, it's simply called CHED. Ayan, it's CHED memo, no? Or CMO. Kaya kung narinig niyo yung CMO, ayan, very important yan, ano? May nagsulat ba? Ayan, tama, memorandum, CHED memo. Okay, ano ang mas maraming students sa higher ed? Private or public? HEI. Any guess? Okay. It's actually private. Yeah, kaysa public. Akala ko rin mas maraming public, ano? Pero mas maraming private na maliliit, ano? So, if you remember our history, after World War II, hindi naging priority ng government ang higher education, ano? Puro ng basic ed, elementary, high school. Kahit nga high school hindi. Kaya yung, di ba, remember our community school movement, yung mga community sila yung nagpatayo ng mga high school, which later became the National High School. So remember who's the father of the community school movement, si Orata, Pedro Orata. Pero yung higher ed, hindi siya naging priority. Kaya yung mga private individuals, sila yung nagtayo ng mga colleges. Okay? And then later na lang na nagkaroon ng mga ng mga state universities, colleges. So yung mga normal schools ang tawag sa kanila kasi parang TESDA yung teacher ed. Later on naging TEI na siya, naging university. Kaya yun, yung PNU, Philippine Normal University, West Visayas State University, WIMSU, Western Mindanao State University, Mariano Marcos State University. So mga normal schools, naging university sila, no? And then unti-unti nagdadagdag. And then later on, pati yung mga LGU, they put up their own college or university. So guess number 7, which region has the most number of HEIs? I tell you, it's not NCR. Ano kaya? Do you have any guess? Anong region ang pinakamaraming colleges and universities? Okay, Marty, very good. Yeah. Same with Ruggiero, tama, ano? Calabarzon, ano? Or 4A. Ano ang tawag sa nagbibigay ng financial help? Ayan, ano? I'm glad you, no? Nilagay niyo to sa papers niyo. Sa mga marami, ano yung tawag sa batas na to or sa program na to? Free tuition, ano? Okay, anyone who remembers the name, ano? Okay. TESS is only for private school, ano? Pero the whole thing, ayan, ayan, right, it's Unifast, okay? Thank you, Anika. And then, ito, marami kayong sinabi dito sa papers niyo, no? What makes CHED neoliberal or commercialized in nature? O ano yung mga signs ng neoliberal nature ng higher ed, hindi lang CHED, okay? Can you write mga example? Oh. Anyone who would like to to give one example na bakit privatize, commercialize, neoliberal ang ating higher ed? What are some examples, manifestations? Yan, okay. So it's meant for labor export, the curriculum, the programs, naka siya doon. Okay. Ano ba yung isang group, yung group ni na 30, yan, sinulat ko dito later, labor export factory, yung mga schools. Okay. Meron pa? Sige, later. Okay. So, I will just be presenting yung mga, as I mentioned, yung some data, information about higher ed, so that later on, when you say it's neoliberal, then you can cite specific policies, and information, bakit ganon, So this is interesting kasi if you remember in EDCOM 1 in 1991, they said na kaya mahina ang quality ng education ay dahil masyadong nakalagay lang sa isang masyado siyang mabigat, top heavy sa DEX, So DEX nandun na yung higher ed, yung TechVoc at saka yung basic education. So masyado siyang mabigat. Kaya trinay-focalize nila sa DepEd, TESDA, and CHED, di ba? So 1994, 1997, and then ayan, meron na tayong tatlo. Pero it's interesting. Oops, it should be EDCOM. Wrong spelling. It's interesting na yung EDCOM 2, they're seeing yung tatlong organizations na yun, yung tatlong bureaus or departments na yun, ay hindi nag-uusap. So sabi nila dahil masyadong disjointed, yun ang reason yung mga maraming problema sa ating edukasyon. And so nakakahiya naman pag-iisahin ulit nila sa isang department. Kasi they're saying, some are saying that sa ibang bansa, iisa lang naman talaga na bureaucracy ang nagmamarried sa tatlo. Tayo pinaghiwalay natin. So instead of reversing and going back to the pre-EDCOM 1, what they're now proposing is pag-iisahin sila through a cabinet cluster for education. So there's a cabinet cluster. So there's an office under the office of the president, a department or a cluster for this. Actually, meron nang ginawa noon after yung EDCOM 1 na mayroong isang office to oversee, to coordinate the three. Kaya lang, it didn't work. Dahil no, ayaw magpa-under. Kasi they took turns. Kunyari this time, DepEd will head, next time, TESDA will head, and then CHED will head later on. Ano? So ayaw nilang magpa-under sa isa't isa. So hindi siya nag-work. It was part of the law. I think 9155, the governance of basic education, pero hindi nag-work. Ayan, So Cayetano mismo ang nagsabi na there's also a disadvantage to trifocalization. Okay, so ayan ulit. So nakita natin na they are happy, they are proud of the reforms that they are introducing. Pero later on, makikita natin na hindi naman pala effective. Kaya dapat we should be participating, Hindi porke lumabas sa website ng EDCOM2 at sanctioned by these guys who are now facing like Villanueva, itong Cayetano, they're facing corruption charges. Okay, so ito yung type of HEI. So bilang education major, dapat alam niyo pag sinabing SUC, LUC, OGS, alam niyo. So SUC, State University and Colleges, example is PUP, UP, LUC, Local University and Colleges, example, University of Makati, Caloocan, yung pamantasan ng Caloocan, pamantasan ng Maynila. Ayan, So ang nag-organize nito ay yung mga mayor. Okay? So sila, and at first, it was alleged na ito ang source ng mga diploma mill dahil very low ang quality because ginagamit ni mayor yan para makakuha siya ng boto, like kunyari, the Tolentino, Tagaytay, colleges, libre lahat yan, hindi ka magbabayad kahit piso, Pero alam na lahat na yun ay Tolentino. Kaya it sustains, it sustains yung dynasty. Okay. And then the OGS, other government schools or college schools and college supervised institution like agricultural colleges na it's managed, it's funded by the government, kunyari yung mga sa Ilocos Norte Polytechnic, ayan may mga Tarlac Agricultural University, although nagiging SUC na rin. And then meron tinatawag na special HEI. Remember, HEI means Higher Education Institution and TEI is Teacher Education Institution. So ito yun, yung PMA, PNPA, National Defense College of the Philippines, Philippine Public Safety College, and then Development Academy of the Philippines. So dito yung nag-aaral. Alam niyo naman na kung sino yung mga nag-aaral dyan, yung sa government, lalo na sa national defense. Okay. And then, ayan, so isa sa mga observation niya at isang nangyari dahil sa trifocalization nung EDCOM 1, naging deregulated ang higher education. Ngayon, napansin niyo na very strong yung control pa rin ng DepEd. Pwede lang ipasara, pwede silang mabilis silang parang mag-sanction or mag-punish kung may mga violator. Pero sa isang change sa higher education, na-deregulate na siya. Wala siyang police power. Okay? So, hindi siya department, Commission on Higher Education. They set policy, pero hindi sila yung nagpapatakbo ng schools. Unlike yung DepEd, sila yung nagmamanage sa mga public schools, Actually, ganun din dapat yung TESDA. Dapat sila lang yung, kaya yung TESDA hindi siya Department of, TechVoc. The same with higher ed, lang siya, It's an attached agency, it's a commission. Okay, their role is to ensure and protect academic freedom and shall promote its exercise and observance for the continuing intellectual growth and advancement of learning and research, the development of responsible and effective leadership, the education of high-level, mid-level, professional, and enrichment of our historical and cultural heritage. nandyan yan, ano? Pero as you said sa paper nyo, it's, hindi, kunyari, it's very colonial, it's neoliberal, it's very English-oriented ang kanyang mga programa. Kasi parang papaganda lang siya, sa mission niya. So, CHED formulates minimum requirement for degree programs. So, hindi sila pwedeng magpasara ng eskwelahan. Pwede lang nilang gawin ay magpasara ng degree, Pero hanggang maraming taon, Hindi nila basta-basta pwedeng gawin 'yan. So CHED can only formulate and recommend policy. It supports HEI, operate based on rewards, but can only impose sanction, So lessen the incentive, pwedeng isara yung particular program, pero hindi yung eskwelahan, unless the school is, mayroong criminal na ginagawa. Pero kung poor lang yung quality, hindi nila basta-basta maisasara. So, yan, napansin nyo doon sa website, pero may mga batas talaga na beginning in basic ed that really promotes privatization. Like sa DepEd or sa basic ed, mayroong tinatawag na GASPE, Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education. So para makatipid ang gobyerno, imbis na magpatayo sila ng public schools sa mga lugar na walang public schools, magbibigay na lang sila, they will just have a contract sa mga private school. Ngayon, iniisip na naman nila yan dahil kulang ng mga classroom, So mayroon silang partnership sa mga private school. And then ito yan, mayroon silang bibigyan nila ng pera or education voucher system. Bibigyan like itong K-12, yung senior high school. Imbis na magpatayo ng DepEd ng enough senior high school, bibigyan na lang ng voucher yung mga families para mamili sila kung saan sila mag-aaral sa private school. So, malaki ang natitipid nila sa voucher. Saka dito sa ESC. And itong mga private school na to, usually na mga ESC, hindi ESC, I'm referring more sa ESC. Wala pa kayo masyadong study dito. Talagang very low quality kasi maliit lang naman ang binibigay ng DepEd sa kanila, And then ito na yung CHED law, yung 7722 that it limited the power of the commission. Ayan, they are deregulated. Sabi naman nila, it let the market rule. Sabi nila, kung pangit naman ang quality ng school na yan, walang mag-i-enroll, So, yun ang kanilang logic. And then, imbis that the government is doing the, accreditation, it's being done by NGOs, outside or minsan international. So, the government is not the one, providing accreditation. So, hinahayaan lang, Yun yung nangyari noong 1994, because of EDCOM 1. And then we have the Transnational Act, which means that mamaya I'll show you. So ito yung sa voucher. So I'm sure familiar kayo, dahil dumaan kayo sa senior high school. So, so imbis na yun nga, yung the students can go to private school. Ito yung Transnational Education Act. So Mapua gets CHED okay to offer Arizona State University courses. So can you imagine itong mga universities abroad can set up their own parang branches dito, First, they can work with, like Mapua, but later on, they can establish their own schools. Ayan, So parang yung nangyari dito sa mga noon, dati we had our own products like mga chocolate, mga sapatos, like Marikina shoes. Nung dumating na dahil nasa open borders, open market, ayan, nawala na yung mga local products natin. So it's possible that, mababawasan ang higher ed because this international institution will set up their own school dito. If you have any question or comment, feel free to write your question and then later on I will, or comment, I will interact with you. Ayan, So what happened 2025? nakita nila. So at first, they were extolling the value of the regulation. Ano na if the market rules, there will be quality. However, nakikita natin yung negative impact ng deregulation. Ano? So, like ito, dahil, okay, ang nangyari dahil pababa ang quality, like ito, yung nababasa natin lately, yung mga diploma mills. Okay, nasa teacher education. Pero kahit sa undergrad. Dahil dumami ang diploma mills, noon pa naman mayroon ng diploma mills, but because of the deregulated nature of higher education, lalong dumami ang diploma mills. Kaya ang ginawa ng CHED, nag-impose siya ngayon ng Certificate of Program Compliance or COPC. So isa yan sa mga tatandaan nyo. No? Bawat university, kung nag-o-offer siya ng course like engineering, ganyan, meron silang COPC. So ngayon, all of a sudden, ka na nagsimula? 2017. 2017 nagsimula, CHED Memo 15. Alam ko yan kasi kasama ako sa nag-examine ng mga ng mga evidences. And nakita ko nga na talagang yung mga teachers nagtuturo, hindi naman sila mag-train na nagtuturo doon. They are not publishing. Wala silang. So yun, all of a sudden in 2017, the CHED impose itong COPC sa mga schools. And therefore, itong isang university na to sa Visayas, hindi nakapasa sa COPC. Okay? So ang nangyari ay ayan hindi sila pinatake ng board exam. Yan, kawawa yung mga estudyante. Okay? So itong nangyari dahil nagpapanik yung CHED, so they imposed their COPC na hindi na nila prepare, hindi bigla. And then, yun, kawawa yung mga estudyante. Hindi sila nakapag-board kaagad, So, ngayon naman, ina-address itong diploma mill, nagkakaroon na ngayon ng listahan online na kung gusto mo mag-aral, tignan mo kung ano yung passing rate ng sa board exam. Okay. And then, ayun. Pero noon pa naman, kasi pag lumalabas yung let result, makikita mo naman doon kung ano yung mga TEI na halos walang pumapasa. So, yung data na yan ay matagal nang na-expose pero hindi pinapansin, So, ito yung parang DepEd and CHED din, So, meron silang mga regional offices. Ayan, So, ang highest lawmaking body ay yung mga commissioners. Okay, unlike sa TESDA, na may TESDA board, ito commissioners sila mismo. And then meron silang international affairs staff. Kita nyo talaga, So ito yung number. Kaya na I ask you, ilan ang mga HEI sa Pilipinas? So there are almost 2,500 TEI. So 2,419. Pinakamarami ay sa Calabarzon, and then NCR. So tingnan mo talaga na, pupunta sa Calabarzon yung mga tao. So dumadami sila. At ang pinakakonte ay sa Cordillera, sa Cordillera Administrative Region, 52. Okay? So yan ang figures natin, Kaya kung tatanungin kayo, saan ang mas marami? Ayan, mas marami sa private kasi 1,709 compared sa public which is 710. So nakita natin talaga na ang higher education is offered by private individuals, depende, or corporation. Okay, so in terms of enrollment, private 2 million, SUC 1.8, LUC is 468, and then 2,000 lang sa OGS. So ito yung program, kaya nabanggit niyo yung tertiary education subsidy, So UniFast, Unified Student Financial Assistance System for Tertiary Education. So, ayan, yung free higher education sa mga nag-aaral sa SUC and LUC. So, dapat makapasa ka ng entrance exam, then you will be entitled to free higher education. And then, meron din silang ibibigay sa mga, kunyari sa UP, meron ding benefit dapat na ibibigay na allowance, pero kailangan mag-apply ka, hindi immediate. Ito yung tertiary education subsidy. So if you are studying in a private school and that private school is accredited by CHED. Kaya nga isa to sa ginamit ng CHED para magpa-COPC yung mga college and universities kasi magiging recipient ng TES yung mga students nila. And then meron ding student loan. And then ito yung TechBook, yan, free yan, puro scholarship. So ito yung benepisyo ng test. So if you know someone, na lalo na kung 4-piece beneficiary sila at nag-aral sila sa isang private school, ayan so bibigyan sila ng 40,000. Okay. And then okay, yung tuition nila 20,000 per sem and then 40,000 na allowance, So makakatanggap sila, May kilala kami sa probinsya, beneficiary sila ng TES. Magkapatid sila, So they're receiving this much every sem. Kaya pinagawa nila yung bahay nila, So dapat kayo, kahit nasa UP kayo, libre na ang tuition, you're entitled to this amount, I don't know if you are benefiting kung sinisingil nyo ang UP sa ganitong amount, And then if you have a disability, meron ding ito, 30,000. And then if you take the board, mayroong 10,000. So ito yung mga ito yung qualification to apply sa test. Okay? So ito yung binanggit ko last time, isang feature ng ating education system. Meron tayong credit transfer or equivalency pathway from kindergarten to graduate school, So nakwento ko noon na yung mga nag-out of school, ayaw mag-aral sa formal school, so they can take the PEPT or the A&E test. Okay, so ibig sabihin, kahit sila nag-aaral, kung nagsa-self-study sila or nag-homeschool sila, or natututo sila, kunyari mahilig silang magbasa kahit na nagtitinda sila sa palengke. So they can take this test and they will pass. And if they pass, then they will be placed sa level nila, So kung yung, yun nga, yung nakwento ko yung mga anak ko, so lalagay siya sa grade 5 or grade 6. And then ito naman, sa ALS, sa A&E, if you pass that one-time, big-time test, tapos ka na ng elementary, pwede ka na mag-high school. O kung tapos ka na ng junior high school, kasi hanggang junior high school lang to, pwede ka na mag-senior high school. Then the same with TechBook, you don't have to go through the training. If you pass their assessment, then you can receive your national certificate. And then ito yung nabanggit ko last time sa higher ed. Ito yung Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program or ETIAP. So isa siyang executive order no 1987 signed by the President and then Ramos. And then RA, naging batas siya bago lang. So it's the same thing. Kunyari, may kilala kayo, hindi siya nakapag-aral sa college, pero meron siyang, meron siyang karinderya. Or, ayan, titignan yung kanyang accomplishment. Mayroong written test, interview, i-demonstrate niya yung skills niya. Or, papakita niya yung, kunyari IT, papakita niya yung mga accomplishment niya sa work. Nag-work na siya. So ano yung mga naging accomplishment niya? So ayan, dapat 5 years siya. 5 years siyang employed sa relevant sa discipline, 23 years old. And then makakakuha na siya ng degree kahit na hindi siya tumungtong sa university. mag-a-apply na lang siya ng 1 year. No? Mayroong 1 year na ang tawag doon ay ano, no? Parang refresher, no? Compressed curriculum na 1 year. Pwede rin second degree, ano? So, kunyari, eduk ang first degree nyo, and then nag-work kayo somewhere, kunyari as an architect, tumutulong kayo sa isang architectural firm, you can get a second degree, ano? So, ito yon. So, if you are in NCR, ayan, ano, you can get this degree, psychology, education, nursing, computer science, elementary, or ito, hospital management, tourism management. So nag-work ka sa hotel, you didn't go to college, and then so you can go to these universities. So tignan nyo sa website ano, ng CHED. So De La Salle, Lyceum, New Era. So ito yung nasa Manila. And then marami rin sa probinsya. No? Okay, so another way na introduce part ng deregulation is that HEIs will be accredited by ayan ano will be accredited by NGO, pero ang ginawa ng ano no ginawa rin ng CHED, nag-set siya ng Policy Standard and Guidelines. So yun, PSG. Yan, tatandaan niyo yan. Ano? Policy Standards and Guidelines. So, bawat course ng undergrad, kung titignan niyo yung DepEd, CHED website, I'm sure nakita niyo to, no? Kasi yung iba sa inyo talagang nakita ko, sinuyod nila yung CHED website. Ano? Nakikita niyo to. So, kunyari, ito yung curriculum ng BEd. Bachelor of Elementary Education. So, mayroon siyang PSG. So, sa PSG, nandun yung curriculum description, sample curriculum, ano yung components. Kaya kung ako ay nag-o-offer ng BEED, isang SUC or pwede rin sa private TEI, dapat sundin ko to, ano? Sundin ko tong binigay ng CHED. Ngayon, bakit sa UP hindi ganito yung ating courses? Bakit kakaiba ang courses natin compared sa nakalagay dito sa PSG, ano? Anyone who would like to know or who knows why our curriculum is different what what is prescribed by CHED? May nakakaalam ba sa inyo? Anyone who knows? Bakit? Ayan, okay, thanks Gerald. Ano? Autonomous ang UP. So ibig sabihin, may mga level. If you reach the highest level, then you will be autonomous and you have the privilege of creating your own curriculum, ano? Based on kung ano man yung standard mo, ano yung mga vision, mission mo, ano? So ito yan, mga government HEI. So may leveling. 1 the lowest, 5 is the highest. So tayo yun, highest. At the same time, dahil national university rin tayo, ano? And then sa mga center of development or center of excellence per program. So kunyari yung Ateneo o Center of Excellence yung aming education, mga ganyan. Yung kung hindi pa ganun kataas, COD, no? And then meron din accreditation from ayan sa mga private HEI, pinipermit ng CHED na mag-operate muna sila ng bagong program for 2 years, pero later on they are subjected na dun sa sinabi kong COPC. Noon, when I first gave this lecture, voluntary pang accreditation noon ng CHED sa mga private HEI. But later, in 27, naging compulsory na siya. Okay? So ano ba yung criteria for leveling sa SUC? So quality and relevance of instruction, ilan yung estudyante, mayroon ba kayong scholarship, financial assistance, mayroon kayong exchange students, o tignan nyo internationalization. Employable ba yung graduate nyo? Tignan nila yung profile ng teachers. Kasi ngayon, para magturo ka sa undergrad, dapat meron kang MA. Ano? Magturo ka ng graduate school like MA, dapat may PhD ka. No? So titignan yon. So ano yung kanilang accreditation status sa mga private? So kunyari itong SUC, dalawa yung accreditation nila, no, sa CHED at saka sa sa mga private, ano? Minsan pati international. And then ano yung performance nila sa PRC, ano? Pumapasa ba sila, ganyan. Ano yung research capability, yung output? Kaya importante sa inyo, lalo na kung magiging teachers kayo, yung research, kasi isa yan sa tinitignan, ano? Percentage of researchers per faculty, ano yung mga externally funded research, completed and published research, presented researcher, citation, and invention. Ano? So, ipapakita ko mamaya kung ano yung mga example ng mga citation na to. Ano? So, titignan nila yung SUC para sa leveling, nagre-research ba sila? Ano? So alam natin na limited naman ang funding for research. Pero ayan, ano, dapat maghanap ka ng mga funding mula sa DOST, ano, mula sa kung language, Commission ng Wikang Filipino, NCCA, National Culture and the Arts, ano, NCAA. And then ayan, service to the community. Meron ba silang active linkages sa mga ano yan, yung mga LGU or yung mga companies sa paligid nila, no? Are they doing extension work? Tumutulong ba sila sa mga barangay, ano? Ayan, they adopt technology, and then ano yung mga projects nila. And then management of resources, disbursement and obligation, internal fundraising, and then faculty staff development. And may mga awards sila, no? So dapat ayan, pinapadala yung mga faculty nila mag-training, mag-seminar, mag-conference. And then ayan, ano, nagbibigay sila ng awards. Kaya nakita niyo sa wall ng UP, maya't maya, ito si Prof na to, nabigyan siya ng Centennial Faculty Awards. Ano? So yun, kasama yun sa mga leveling. Okay. So yun yung requirement. Ito yung requirement ng CHED, ano, para sa leveling. Okay. Ito naman yung mga ano accreditation organizations. Ito ay mga private or NGOs, ano? Concept-based accreditation is a concept based on self-regulation which focuses on the evaluation and the continuing improvement of educational quality. It's undertaken by private or non-profit organization. So ginagamit ito sa school branding, and then para makakuha ka ng incentive like leveling. So dito sa COPC na binanggit ko sa inyo, hindi makakapasa yung COPC mo kung hindi ka nagpa-accredit sa private. So doble-doble. Doble-doble sila, no? So ito 'yon. PASCO, ayan, Philippine Accrediting Association of Schools and Colleges. Karamihan yung mga private schools sa PASCO. Ayan, ano, PACOCOA. Sa mga Christian schools, ACSCO, ano, ACSU. Okay? Ayan, sa Chartered Colleges and Universities of the Philippines, sa AACUP, and then sa mga LUC, ayan, bago ito, ano, Alcocoa, kasi bago pa lang naman yung LUC, ano. So, ito yung mga titignan nila, no? Yan. And then mayroon pang international, ano, ano yan, yung QS saka THE, ano to yung Times Higher Education. So, ito, titignan yung curriculum, instruction, titignan nila yung syllabus na binibigay ng teacher, ano yung mga readings, ganun, ano, kadetalye, community involvement, ano yung CV ng faculty, ano yung laman na library, ilan ang libro sa library, may laboratories pa sila, clear ba yung purposes and objectives. So sa mga international organization, tignan nyo, no? Industry, income, innovation. Okay, research, very important yung kadami ang naproproduce mong publication, ano? Citation, ilan ang nagsasite sa studies mo, ano? Academic peer review, ano, sumasali, yung teacher ba ay sumasali siya sa pagre-review ng journal. And then, recruiter review. So, anong tingin ng mga recruiters sa mga graduate ng UP, for example, ano? So, kunyari, tinan nyo to, ha? Itong Bicol University, congratulations. So, tignan mo yung website nila. Institutional Accreditation Level 4, reaccredited status until 2023. Nakalagay kung ano aakop. Ano? So, nasa website nila, the Bicol University community is proud of you. Ano? So, ito sa Lyceum, it's a private university. So, kung titignan mo yung website nila, nakalagay dyan yung mga international accreditation nila. No? Ayan, okay, Asia Pacific Quality Organization, ISO, ayan, ano, first university in the Philippines to be granted full international accreditation for HRM. So naka-specific, ano? And then dito rin, ito no, ito naman sa Lyceum Manila, accredited by PACOCOA, granted institutional accredited status, Philippine first level 4. So level 1, nakalagay level 4 PACOCOA, etc. No? So level 4 for HRM. So hindi lahat. Ano? So nilalagay nila yan sa university nila as a means to to advertise kung gaano sila ka quote unquote ka quality, So yan ang ngayon, yan ito naman yung the World University Ranking, So the same, yung binanggit kanina, okay. So ito tinitingnan nila, for example, PhD awards for academic. Ayan yung citation. So ito yung, tingnan nyo ito, Tarlac Agricultural University. It's a small university sa isang farm sa isang lugar sa Tarlac. It's supposed to be an agricultural university, pero nakalagay sa kanilang website, ito, yung ranking nila sa na to, ayan, yung mga ranking nila. Okay. And then, nakita natin dito, yung QS. So, kaya na THE times higher education. Ito QS. So, isang ranking din yan, So, may seal ang Commission on Higher Education. So, ayan, Asia's Best Higher Education Institution. So, itong ranking na to sa, sa Asia. Okay? 2023, So, if you notice, of course, number 1 ang UP, pero karamihan ay mga private university na, So may lumalabas lang dyan na SUC like UP, MMSU, CTU, CLSU, CMU. Tapos, ayan, puro private na lahat. So talagang makita natin dito, yan, may nakapansin sa inyo, yung hierarchy, the social, the elite class. Enjoy yung yung mga top ranking university. So kung mahirap ka, hindi mo ma-afford yung tuition ng Ateneo de La Salle, UST, then doon ka sa mga lower rank school, And even UP, minsan ang tawag sa UP, University of the Prosperous, There was a time in 2011 na lumabas ito, half of UPD freshies under millionaire bracket. Kasi that time, meron pang bracketing depende sa income ng family mo, yung so yan, So nakita nila na out of ilang incoming freshmen, 1,750 ang mga naka-qualify lang na bracket 1 and bracket 2 na who are to enjoy free tuition ay 40 lang, ano? Wala pang 10%, ano? So 9% lang, ano? Ah, ang ano, no? Ito pala, yung sa 2011, only 9% or 212 applied for ST5 were assigned to the lowest bracket, ano? Ayan. So, kita mo dito talaga na ang UP, which is supposedly, free tuition, uh, for, pero ang nakikinabang dito ay hindi naman yung mga mahihirap, ano, or mayroong skewed. Kaya, through the years, pinipilit ng UP na, laging binabantayan. Ayan, oops. Pero po kung anong accreditation ang isang HEI. Yeah, Gerald. Depende kasi nga, as I said earlier, na yung accreditation ng mga HEI, depende kung, kunyari Christian, sila, Catholics, University, or SUC, or LUC, So may kanya-kanyang nakatoka sa kanilang accrediting agencies. In terms of wala naman akong although mabobongga itong mga to, may mga conference sila. Ayan, nasa 5-star hotel, Tapos mga powerful. Pag dumating na yung mga accreditors, papakainin sila, ganyan. Talagang very expensive. Mga million ang gagastusin ng mga universities. So going back to UP, talagang binabantayan kung ilan ba, is it equitable ba ang access? So nagkaroon ng news noong ito yung 2025. So those who passed the UPCAT, 55% came from public school. So phenomenal 'yan, siguro yung mga parents, because mayroon naman diyang Ateneo or LaSalle, 30% of the total number of applicants are still Metro Manila. So still very Manila-centric. Kasi siguro naman dahil gumaganda naman na yung mga SUC sa province, like Mindanao State University is among the top. Okay, 3 years ago, there were more qualifiers from private school. Only 44% came from public school, while 56 were private school. Ayan, So lumalaki na yung share from public school lately. Ito yung magandang pag-aralan, yung first generation college students. Ang ibig sabihin ng first generation, sila yung unang nakapagtungtong ng college sa buong pamilya nila, First gen. So dumami from 6% last year to 13%. Okay? So during faculty meeting, pag pinag-uusapan na yung UPCAT, they make sure na mayroong UPCAT sa lahat ng lugar sa Pilipinas, Dapat mayroong opportunity. Okay? So going back dito sa yung kapareho yung kanina, yung sa QS. So ito yung kanilang tinitingnan. So tingnan niyo ito yung faculty na may sa bawat faculty, hindi naman lahat, yung iba lang. Ilalagay nila sa Google Scholar yung profile nila. So ito isang pinaka-prolific, maybe the most cited faculty ay si Dr. Alan Bernardo. He used to teach here in UP but later, not now, nasa Lasal na siya. So tingnan nyo, this is the way to be recognized and to be promoted and to gain recognition. To gain prestige awards. Dapat nagpa-publish ka, So nagpa-publish siya ito mga to, British Journal of Educational Psychology. So mga high international publication. And then dapat yung pinublish mo ay sinasite ng mga iba ring nagpa-publish. So ito yung mga citation niya, So ang citation niya, anong year to? Kung titingnan niyo siya ngayon, I think kinuha ko to last year, 5,000. Phenomenal, Ang taas ng kanyang citation, H-index, I-index. Okay? Ayan, Ito sa EDUC. si Teacher Dina, no? Dati nating Dean, nagtuturo siya sa reading. Ayan din, ano, mataas yung citations niya. And then each index, then ano. Ayan, tapos co-author niya, no? Naging co-author niya si Alan Bernardo. Okay? So, if you want to, to teach in higher education, like what I said last time, na magturo muna kayo sa basic ed, elementary, high school, or pwede rin sa ALS, or sa non-formal education. Then after grassroots experience, kahit din sa mga NGOs, after grassroots experience, you aim to share what you know by teaching sa higher education, sa mga TEI. So ito yung and kaya tinuturuan namin kayo na paano mag-research, na mag-produce ng paper. Kasi UP is a research university. And yan na ngayon ang parang labanan. Magtuturo ka. You should be producing papers, doing research. Not just because you want to be promoted, but you want to contribute to knowledge production. Can you imagine kung lahat na lang ng ginagamit sa research, mga sinasite ay galing sa Amerika or sa Europa? Okay. Hindi naman contextualize sa Pilipinas yung mga tinuturo doon. Kaya, ayan, we have to produce our own knowledge. We have to participate in knowledge production. You do research, kahit na mahirap sa Pilipinas mag-research dahil very limited ang funding. Maraming trabaho yung mga teachers. Pero you do research, you publish your work, and you should be cited. You should get cited. And ayan, kaya college pa lang kayo, hasain nyo na yung writing skills nyo, hasain nyo na yung mga, huwag kayong magreklamo, huwag kayong mag-shortcut, magpagawa kay ChatGPT ng research paper nyo, Kasi you'll be shortchanging yourself. Okay, so I hope that someday I will see you sharing your knowledge on education sa mga sa universities, anywhere sa Pilipinas or even Asia, like maraming countries like Cambodia, Laos na na very limited ang mga higher education institution. Okay? So ito yung example nila. So ano yung mga issues sa higher ed? So ito low quality higher ed. Ayan lalo na sa may tinatawag na a small low cost private school, So minsan sa private school yan sikat. Pero may mga private school na low cost. Okay? LCPS, low cost private schools, So ito yung mga eskwelahan sa probinsya na maliit lang yung tuition. Pero dahil yun ang problema, may mga school sa probinsya na kahit na hindi sila magpa-accredit or magpa-COPC, mabubuhay sila kasi sila lang naman ang eskwelahan sa probinsya nila. They offer very small, very low na tuition, and yet dahil hindi sila regulated or they can do whatever they want, nagiging they tend to offer very low quality rin, nagiging diploma mill sila, And then that was exacerbated by the deregulation law, and now they are reversing it. Jobs mismatch. So the industries are often complaining na you keep on producing graduates na hindi naman sila nagre-respond sa needs, Kawawa naman yung family, they spend a lot sa college and then hindi naman makahanap ng trabaho. So yun, ang hinahanap nila sa graduates, critical thinking, they know how to work with a team, kaya importante sa inyo na you work with a group because when you find a job later on, they will examine if you are a good team player, if you can solve problems, if you can communicate orally and verbally, So isa ring issue dahil nga deregulated, the government does not put a cap kung magkano ang tuition, So ayan, tumaas ang tuition. Unlike noon, meron pang mga bago ka mag-college, bibilan ka ng magulang mo ng pre-need insurance para pag nag-college ka, meron kang pambayad. Pero na-bankrupt na yon dahil, unpredictable ang pagtaas ng tuition. Okay? So, isa ring issue is yung K to 12. Dapat, dahil nadagdagan na ang high school ng 2 years, dapat bawasan nila, no? Yung college ng at least 1 year. So, yun ang ginagawa ngayon. Ang tagal nang lumabas yung K to 12 law, 2013. And yet, lahat pa rin ngayon ay 4 years pa rin. 5 years for engineering, and then 4 years yung mga like education. And then there are laws like distance education, open university, ladderized education, yung pinakita ko last time dun sa TESDA, na you can earn your college degree through a ladder, starting with mga NC2, mga TESDA courses. And then those should be translated to college degrees or college units. So hindi pa siya, ang tagal na, 2017, hindi siya na i-implement. And then ito yun, yung degree on kasama sa mga yung internationalization. So now we are seeing, like if you go to Adamson, ang dami-daming mga kumukuha ng medicines from Africa, Talagang dumadagsa sila, sa Mindanao. Sa isang school, ang daming galing India na kumukuha ng medicine. So, ayan, yung mga parang nagiging negosyo yung mga eskwelahan dito, and they're getting and more foreign students. And then, mutual recognitions. Many of our degrees are not yet recognized abroad. Then ito na yun, yung transnational higher education, that foreign school can now set up their satellite school in the Philippines and compete with local schools. Okay? So, ang isa rin, ang tawag dito ni Sir Muega, piracy. Kasi if you're a graduate of engineering, ito 2016 pa to, So, if you finish yung mga engineering na kabatch nyo, friends nyo, mayroong offer sa kanila ang Australian government. Nakalagay, if you graduated from UP in engineering over the past 2 years, then Australia wants you. Ayan, So, bibigyan kanila ng 2 years visa. Mag-work ka doon as 2 years na nag-work ka sa Australia, So, sabi ni Sir Mike, pinaaral ka ng UP, libre tuition mo from the tuition sa taxes ng mga Pilipino, and then when you graduate from UP, then basta-basta ka na lang nila kukunin, ayan, sa ibang bansa. Okay, so nagko-cause ng brain drain, So mayroong brawn drain, mayroong ding brain drain. So, ayan, ang ibang manifestation ng pro-privatization aside from the ones I mentioned kanina, like yung Transnational Act, ayan, yung voucher system, yung GATSPE. Okay, when nakikita rin dito na when they do the policy, or when they do the curriculum, like DepEd, when they create the curriculum, kasama sa paggawa ng curriculum ay yung mga BPO, So, mga negosyo, nakikialam sila, So, nakita natin dito na ang schools ay naging pipeline siya, para sa mag-work, lalo na sa abroad, And therefore, yung issues like the purpose of education, the role of education for, citizenship development, para maging magaling na citizen, alam niya paano niya makialam sa nangyayari sa bansa. Paano siya mamili ng tamang leaders. Hindi yan mahalaga, Kasi puro ang purpose ng edukasyon ay para lang magkatrabaho at mag-abroad, ganyan, Okay, so yan, nagulat ako. Nabasa ko to si Agrupis. Agrupis, na he studied in UPLB. Ayan, ang isa sa mga bago lang kasi siya, no? Isa sa mga niya, statements niya English. Okay. Hindi man lang niya pinansin na, our own culture, our own languages. So, ayan, it's the Filipinos' weakest skill, ang English. Okay. So, nakita natin dyan, I was hoping na since bago itong commissioner, and she's from Ilocos, and before when she was in Ilocos, he was supporting the use of Ilocano or the mother tongue. But now, as the CHED commissioner, sayan siya. Okay, so as a result of neoliberalism, dahil kinakat yung cost of production, cost ng operation, now overwork yung mga teachers, yan, yung, and then, yan, privatization, cheap labor, and then consumerist culture in school, kasi piniprepare yung mga estudyante na maging competitive, Kasi when they end up working sa mga companies, they should help their company compete, ayan, sa global market. Kaya bata pa lang, tinuturuan ng maging competitive. Okay, to be individualistic, to think of their own, to compete to win at all costs. Kahit minsan na violate yung mga, nagkakaroon ng cheating or something. So it's promoting individualism, competition rather than communitarian, or collective values. So ang ideal learner, ideal worker is someone who is competitive, flexible, independent, and self-regulated. Kasi yun din yung nature ng mga industries. And then, ayan, yung standardized dahil we are sending workers abroad. So, mayroong Bologna Accord, yung Bologna, yan yung curriculum sa engineering, Meron ding sa ibang bansa, Meron ding ganon para yung ino-offer na curriculum dito ay kapareho sa trabaho nila. And then, of course, the PISA and the TIMSS, yung mga exam na to, they are not just meant to to rank yung mga countries. Pero sinasabi rin niya na ito yung ituro nyo, This is how to teach math science. Okay, para mataas kayo sa PISA. Okay, and then dahil sa neoliberalism, nagiging western, yan yung and then English. It's the common language. Okay, so at the expense of our mother tongues. And, nakwento ko na, I was attending this conference sa Hawaii. So, nakita ko na ano yung effect ng mga bata dahil they grew up in a country na ini-ignore yung mother tongue. Kaya yung parents nila, English lang. Pero paglaki nila, they started to struggle about their identity. Kasi nga, nakita nila dahil Filipino sila, they experience, misrecognition, ganyan, marginalization. And so they had to go back. Ano ba yung identity ko? Ano yung language ko? Ano yung strength ko? Ano yung kultura ko? What makes me unique? Okay? So, dahil nga, kaya kung hindi natin hinahanda yung mga bata to recognize and appreciate their identity, their language, it will make them less, they are prone, lalo na if their parents will bring them abroad or they will work abroad, talagang it will be very difficult for them. It will make them less what? I hate that word, pero yun, resilient. I hate it kasi laging ginagamit. Pero importante yun, Ayan, okay? So, ito ayan, Okay, and then, ayan. Okay, so yan, pataas ng pataas dahil deregulated, pataas ng pataas ang tuition fee. So parents have to work, both parents have to work, some have to work overseas dahil tumaas ng tamaas ang tuition fees. And then the government, which is supposed to protect its people, parang hinahayaan lang yan. The government is leaving, yung education sa market, let the market rule. So the government is virtually abandoning its role, as a leader, as a father, ganyan, So hinahayaan lang yan na let the market rule kung ano yung kailangan. Yan, okay? And then dahil commercialize, paano na yung mga taas ang tuition, paano na yung mga mahihirap? Paano na yung mga lugar na o konti lang ang may kaya na magbayad? So yan ang sitwasyon ng ating higher education institutions. So before I go sa TEI, do you have any questions sa mga nakita nyo sa website habang while you were yung kinukutuan nyo yung website ng ng CHED? Do you have any question that you would like to ask about higher education? Hmm? Hmm. Okay. Mukhang wala namang tanong. Sige. So now, uh, ayan, let's look on the Philippine Normal University. So as I said earlier, ang unang tinayong eskwelahan aside sa basic ed or primary school ay yung yung mga normal schools ang tawag, hindi pa Philippine Normal Schools, It was established in 1901. Pero even before the Americans came, the Spaniards already set up their own normal school, pero ang ginawa ng mas naging systematic. And then they had branches in Manila, Cebu, Iloilo, Zamboanga, Ilocos Norte, and Pangasinan. Okay? So for you to become a teacher, you have to study sa mga sa normal schools na to. Like my lola, she is a teacher, so nag-aral siya sa normal school sa Pangasinan, which has become Pangasinan State University. So yung normal school sa Manila, naging Philippine Normal University, Cebu Normal University, yung sa Iloilo, naging West Visayas State University, Zamboanga, WIMSU, West Mindanao State University. So WebSU, WIMSU, sa Ilocos Norte, ito yung Mariano Marcos State University. And then yun nga, Pangasinan State University. Okay, so they started as normal schools. Noong 1901, you have to take 2-year general high school education program. So imagine, after graduating sa elementary, kukuha ka lang ng 2 years sa high school, pwede ka nang magturo noong 1901. Noong 1928, dapat tapusin mo na yung high school and then may dalawang taong kurso sa college, junior college, para maging teacher ka. So, parang bachelor's, parang associate degree lang siya. 2-year program. Okay, kaya minsan isip na, bakit kaya bababa ang tingin sa teachers? Kasi before, hindi mo naman kailangan ng mag-graduate ng kagaya ng mga abogado or mga doktor, nang kailangan mo ng 4 years sa college. Noon, 2 years lang sa college, pwede ka na makakuha ng teaching certificate and become a teacher. It was only in 1949, after World War II, na yung mga teachers yung mga gusto maging teachers ay kailangan mag-aral ng 4 na taon. Dito lang naging bachelor's degree. Okay? Ang education. So, BS Elementary Education, at ang unang high school ay BS Elementary Education. Okay. Major in Home Economics. Hindi pala to sa Unang major, Home Economics. It was only in 1953 na nagkaroon ng MA, graduate school. Okay? And all of this, ang kanilang ginamit na curriculum ay galing syempre sa Amerika, lalo na sa graduate school. So lahat naman mula elementary, high school ay galing sa Amerika. Especially that kahit na independent na ang Pilipinas, the American government through funding agencies like USAID, ganyan, World Bank, ay nandyan pa rin to influence curriculum. And then, yung mga teachers na gustong mag-graduate school, kumukuha sila ng scholars mag-aral sa abroad Ayan, ano, so they are influenced. Like yung mga, yung kinento ko nun na pensionado, ano, nagpapatuloy pa rin yung pensionado program. So through the pensionado program, when the teachers who finish their MA, PhD abroad, when they come back, so dadala nila yung kanilang American, ano, no? So ito yung binanggit ko kanina, no? So, yung normal school na naging ah, normal university na, no? So, hindi lang pala Cebu Normal, pati Leyte Normal University, Bicol University, Palawan State University, and then PNU, mayroong PNU sa Manila, mayroon din sa Northern Luzon sa Isabela, Southern Luzon sa Prosperidad, Visayas, saan ba yung mayroon may PNU sa Visayas and then sa Mindanao. Oh, of course, yung ano pala, no? I think yung Leyte Normal. And then Bukidnon State, Western Mindanao State University sa Zamboanga. Okay? So, yung history naman ng College of Education, noong 1913, School of Education pa siya. So, hindi pa siya kolehiyo. Ano? Under siya ng College of Liberal Arts in Manila. And then, 3 year study para makapag-graduate ka ng secondary education. By the way, during the American colonial period, they assigned PNU to educate teachers who will teach at the primary level. Ang na-assign, UP, College, itong School of Education, ang na-assign na mag-educate ng teachers na magtuturo sa high school. Ano? So yan ang division of labor nila. Ano? But later on, PNU expanded and began offering secondary education. So noon, when it started in 1913, 3 year study, 2 years GE, General Education, 1 year Prof Ed. Ano? So the graduates received their teacher's high school certificate. And then in 1916, yung UP High School Laboratory. And then it was only in 1918, after 5 years, that the School of Education, naging College of Education na siya. No? And 3 years pa rin yung course niya, Bachelor of Education, and then 4 years yung BS Education. And then in 1921, meron na siyang BSE, Major in Home Economics, BS Education, Major in Home Economics, also English, Economics, and Math. Okay? And then kasama ang thesis writing until 1925. However, in other universities ngayon, sa UP kasi ngayon, walang thesis writing. Kaya yan swerte nyo, no? Practicum lang. Pero ngayon, kung pupunta ka sa mga ibang universities na SUC, required nang mag-thesis saka mag-practicum yung mga estudyante. Ano? In 94, nagkaroon ng Bachelor in Pedagogy, yan. Major in Home Economics, PE, Certificate in Teaching Adults, Elementary School. And then nung after World War II, nagkaroon na ng MA, PhD, and they transferred from Manila to Diliman. Okay. So ito yung mga concerns na titignan natin later on, okay, so low education outcomes in basic education. Okay, so nakikita natin ngayon na mataas ang dropout, marunong din nakakabasa, mahihina yung mga estudyante sa content areas. So parang kung mababa ang outcomes sa basic education, ang kanilang sinisisi, ang tinitingnan ng culprit is the teacher education. Ano? And now they are finding out na ang isang rason ay marami sa MA ng mga TEIs ay yun nga yung diploma mill. Ano? So the graduate school is supposed to train teachers to be expert in their craft, and yet very low quality ang nakukuha nila. And then another issue also is culture. Like si Alan Bernardo, he found out in his paper 2006 among teachers na na-interview, ayan, ano, ang tingin nila sa pagtuturo is just transmitting knowledge. And para makakuha ka ng diploma, no? Rather than developing competencies or skills. Okay? Kunyari yung communication skills, ano? Uh, reason out, uh, ability to solve problems, ano? Those are competencies. Ability to collaborate. So nakita niya na ang tingin ng mga teachers sa trabaho nila is they are just transmitting ideas, ano? Okay. So teachers also view teaching as involving the strict and exact execution of prescribed action. So hindi nila naintindihan kung ano ba yung role ng teacher, no? So ang ano lang, anong trabaho ng teacher? Oh, mag-check ng papel, gumawa ng lesson plan. Ayan, ano? So they do not see their work, na as a professional. Okay, and then there's also the culture of imposing conformity. Ayan, dapat ganito. Ano ba yung prescription? Ano ba yung damit? Ano ba yung ano sa haircut or sa notebook? Ano yung format sa paper, Instead of teaching creativity, innovation. Kaya sa class na to, minsan affected ako when you ask, ma'am, ano ba yung format ng ganito? Research naman yan. Mas importante sa akin yung essence, pero some students, maybe they grew up, na dapat may format sa lahat. Okay, and then system of promotion and recognition that are not based on demonstrated competence and improving student learning among others. So napopromote ka, hindi dahil sa impact mo sa learning, kundi, marami kang na-collectang certificate or something. Kaya ito, ayan, sabi, in a study, they found na ang pinaka maraming degrees sa college ay yung teacher education, So halos kalahati, ayan, ito yun, nagtuturo ng kalahati sa mga universities, nagtuturo, ng bibigyan ng degree sa education. And ayan, sa study nila, ano bang year to, There was this study na ang pumapasa lang sa LET, licensure exam for teacher, is only 31%, napakababa. Ayan, so half had graduates who perform below the passing rate. Okay, so ayan, madaming bumabagsak, 31% lang ang pumapasa. And most of the poorly performing TEIs or teacher education institutions are from Mindanao. So, can you imagine, itong school na to, Marawi Capital Foundation, ang passing rate lang nila ay 2.8%. So, 2% lang ang pumasa. Ito, Marawi Islamic College, 9%. Mindanao Islamic Computer College, 7%. Ayan, So, ito yung mga example. Ito, Lapak Agricultural College. Kaya, program discontinued. So, ang ginawa ng CHED, dahil laging mababa ang passing rate, like ito, 5%, di-discontinue na siya. And then ito, So, secondary naman, imagine itong school na to, Haji Buti School, 0 ang passing rate. Lanao National College of Arts and Trade, 1% lang pumapasa. Tawi-Tawi Regional Agricultural College, 1%. Kaya nung nandun kami, punta kami, ayan, hindi na sila nag-o-offer ng teacher ed, that time. Ito rin, program discontinued rin, So can you imagine, there are some universities, colleges sa Mindanao na halos wala ang pumapasa, Kaya pag lumalabas yung LET, of course, titignan ko yung top notcher, meron bang taga-edu, ganyan, anong school. Titignan ko rin yung performance ng mga schools. Meron bang schools na zero or mababa ang passing rate, So can you imagine itong mga universities na to? Kaya Ayan, BARM, Mindanao, ang may pinakamataas na dropout, pinakamababa ang literacy. Okay? So, majority of the top performers sa TEI, sa LET, ay galing sa Metro Manila. Okay? So, PNU, passing rate nila 94.8%. UST 98, Xavier 90%, UP, oh yan, almost 100%. Bohol Island 90. So ito lang Bohol Island lang yung hindi Metro Manila. De La Salle 98. And then sa secondary, PNU, UST, UP Diliman, Los Baños, 99% De La Salle. So sa secondary, except for UPLB na nasa Laguna, lahat ay nasa Manila, no? And then, so there are recommendations. There have been recommendation to close program of the poorly performing TI. Pero yun nga, ang ginawa ng CHED, hinayaan mo na lang ipakita na ilang taon na mababa ang kanilang passing rate bago sila pinasara. And then they have also they're thinking of the 3-strike rule na pag bumagsak ka ng 3 times, hindi ka na pwedeng no. Pero I think hindi ito natuloy. Okay? And then there are also requirements to examine the open enrollment policy kasi sinasabi nila, kasi sa EDUC walang entrance exam yan eh. Lalo na sa private school, wala namang entrance exam. Anyone can enter. And therefore, marami nag-graduate na wala namang Ayan. So they're also thinking of examining, okay lang ba yung open enrollment? Baka kailangan may entrance exam. Okay, so next meeting we will talk about Teachers Code of Ethics saka Teachers Magna Carta. No? So before we go, mayroon ba kayong tanong or takeaways? Anyone who would like to share their question or takeaways? Ayan, meron ba? Nakikinig ba kayo? Are you there? Okay. Kahit isa lang. Ayan, merong heart. Sabi sa nakikinig. Anyone who would like to write or say their takeaway before we end this class? Ayan. Okay. Wala? Ilang? Any takeaway? Any question? Okay. Sige. Okay, yan. Meron. Salamat. Oh, Matt. Yes. Matt, let's hear from you. Matt, are you there? Or Matt Angelo, paki-unmute. Yeah.
Hello po. Am I audible po?
Yeah, dali. Matt, ikaw si Tio, no?
Opo.
Okay,
Opo.
nalilito ako. Sige, go ahead.
I think it would be a missed opportunity po not to share po what I learned po dun po sa NCRT po kahapon, which is yung conference nga po about teacher education. One of the keynote speakers po, Miss Doc Agnes po, I think she's a prof din po here dito sa UP. But at the same time,
CHED siya. Oo.
yes po, she's also a commissioner po under CHED. She said po na marami daw pong mga bansa from other countries na parang ano ba daw dito? Kumakausap daw po sa kanya para daw po mag-recruit daw po ng mga Filipino teachers dun sa para po pumunta po dun sa mga ibang bansa and parang kumbaga ano ba tawag dun? Mag-export ng mga Filipino teachers, especially sa mga sa Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia. And parang doon daw po niya na-realize na um, parang nagiging recruiter daw po siya in a sense kasi dapat hindi daw po ganun yung proseso kasi dapat daw po dumadaan ng DFA, ganyan, foreign affairs, ganyan. And parang na-share din po niya na um, uh, parang 5 years lang daw po on average yung ginugugol ng mga Filipino teachers before daw po sila mag-try or sumubok daw po abroad. And ang one of the factors daw po doon, of course, obviously, is yung compensation since a lot of teachers nga daw po hindi po na nako-compensate ng um, ng deserve po nila, ganun. But at the same time daw po, on top of that po is yung hindi daw po nila magandang experience with their co-workers, especially yung mga higher officers daw po like principal, ganun. So parang hindi daw po sila, kumbaga hindi daw po maayos yung relationship nila, ganun, or like naiirita, ganyan, or basta ganun po, pangit po yung relasyon po nila with their, kumbaga, co-workers po, since hindi naman po nila technically boss yung mga principal, diba? Ayun po.
Yeah, no, oo, no. Kaya nga, galing din ako sa Hawaii, ang dami ring Filipino teachers ang nandun. Pero when they are there, kailangan nila maipasa rin, ano? And then, nahihirapan sila sa English nila, ano? They have to come back. So, yun, kaya siguro, yun nga, yung, parang naisip ko nga, ikaw lang sinasabi, very poor ang education sa Pilipinas, but ang dami kumukuha ng mga teachers natin na to work abroad, ano? So, yun yung isa rin, ano? So, yan yung isang, parang noon nurses ang kinukuha, ngayong teachers na, ano? So, isa yan sa magandang pag-isipan. Baka gusto nyo ring, dati nun may gumawa ng interview sa mga teachers na umalis. Okay, thank you, Theo. So, it's already 11:29. So, thank you sa mga nag-sign up. So, for those who signed up, let's see. Patayin ko na to, no?